What is going on, guys? What's happening? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Snaps. Hope that everybody's having a wonderful day, a wonderful college football season. I know I am. Here we sit, December 9th, 2024, and we have a 12-team playoff to watch over the next month. I think the Dr. Pepper commercials were calling it like Playoff-uary. An admittedly unwieldy name, but the point does stand. I love Christmas. I love this time of year. In fact, one of the only ways that you could have ever made it better would be to tell me that on the 20th, 21st, whenever these games are, again, we should probably look it up on today's show, then I get to watch Tennessee travel to Ohio State. Then I get to watch SMU and Penn State square off. Then I get to watch Clemson and Texas go toe-to-toe. Austin M., what's up? What's up, really, Caleb? What's up, Mac, Bo, Bilbo, Danny Bonilla, Dreams of Lori, and Michael Bragg, King MJ. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day today. New house? No. So remember, whenever I'm in studio, I do the bag end background. When I am on remote location, which I got a new mic for on location, guys, actually a nice USB-C Shure mic. I think one of the better USB-C mics out there, so I should start sounding better on location. But I'm in my office today, which I'm very excited about. We got a good show planned for you today. So I got some more thoughts on the college football playoff. We talked about it in a reaction show, I think yesterday. I don't know. It's so crazy. We've done so many shows since then. If you missed them all, podcast feed, YouTube channel, it's got a reaction to the Georgia game. It's got a reactions to all of the game. It's got my reaction to the playoffs last night. And today I want to talk a little bit more about it. And then I want to talk strength of schedule as well. We have Greg Byrne getting community noted. We have Kirk Herbstreit being the South-ass. We have TJ Finley, the portal god, along with a ton of portal news. Scott Frost back. Parker Titsworth, on top of a great name. Parker Titsworth, and probably my favorite moment of the entire weekend. We have Carson Beck injured. I have exclusive video of Alabama fans and their reaction to the college football playoff. So it's going to be, strength of schedule seems to be forgotten. Okay, Chip, we're going to discuss that because I could not disagree more. By the way, guys, no, Aaron is going to be out all week this week. So a lot of this show will be me alone. We'll have on some fun guests. But he is in Nassau, Bahamas. We may catch up with Aaron at one time or another. I told him to just get out of here and take the week off. CK Taverner says Dr. Peppers has a lot of good ideas in terms of the flavoring of fizzy water, but let's not take his tips on portmanteaus. He's a medical doctor, not a linguist. What's portmanteaus? What's portmanteaus? I love learning new words, CK, and I have never heard this. And I doubt I'm saying it correctly, but portmanteau, a large trunk, a word blending the sounds or combining the meanings of two others. What the fuck? What? Bro, let's go. Podcast is a portmanteau. A made-up word coined from a combination of both the word iPad and broadcast. Oh, my word. Look at that. You know who was a linguist? Professor Tolkien. Professor of language at Oxford. The reason I say that is because it is December 9th. War of the Rohirrim comes out when? What are we looking at here? This week, right? Let's see. December 13th, guys. Let's go. So close. So close to War of the Rohirrim. Also, I will be giving a Skeleton Crew review at the end of today, the new Star Wars show at Disney Plus. As spoiler alert, I'm pretty head over heels for it. But I have a lot of thoughts. As to why that is. And I'll explain that near the end of the show. So as always, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. A huge thank you to everybody hanging out. So excited, guys. The road to 28K is heating up. Okay. If we could the goal is 30K by the end of the season. You know, we got playoff February to try to figure it out. The goal is for 30K. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, your in-laws, whoever, if you think they'd enjoy the show. And if you listen on podcast, rate, review, free, simple ways that you can help out. Max says, ride for ruin and the world's ending always and forever. You know, on this day, what is it? Shields will be splintered, swords will be broken. New day, red day, death. One of the all-time great scenes. Dump Wim out the air. Like, whoa, John. No. You ain't gonna do my boy Wim like that, dude. I'm loving me some Wim. We'll talk about it, though. We'll talk about it later. All right, let me bring up a 12-team bracket. Oh, that's another thing I might want to do this week, even though I'm sure Aaron will want to do this. In honor of the 12-team bracket, I do, and I'm stealing this shamelessly from JD Piquel. So I might bring him in on this. Even though early returns are that JD has awful opinions on Christmas movies, which I've texted with him and told him this. Also, I don't necessarily agree with his opinions always in the college football playoff. We were getting into arguments about auto bids and whatnot earlier, or debates, conversations, not arguments. JD Piquel's the man. But I do want to make a 12-team Christmas movie bracket that will break down later this week. Also need a Gladiator review, says Bokini. I got to see Gladiator first, man. It's getting in that dangerous territory where, am I going to make it to theaters to see it? I don't know. I mean, I got to bring my kids to see Moana 2 at some point this week. EFP bracket. Snap says almost many subs, OTB in the morning. Yeah, let's go, dude. Well, you know, it's a bigger, you know, in theory, we're pulling from a much bigger pool, right? The OTB show, that's my radio show, guys, off the bench. That's only really for like LSU fans. I mean, it's literally called OTB LSU and OTB Saints. So, like, yeah. That makes sense. All right, let me go ahead and share this. Here it is, guys. First ever 12-team bracket. You already know it at this point. Let me make this a little bit bigger for y'all. Oh, that doesn't make it bigger at all, does it? Oh, well, you already know it. You can see it, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, perfect. It just looks tiny on my screen. Moana 2 is worth it. I know. I'm excited to see Moana 2. I really enjoyed the first one. I am a massive Disney animation fan. Just a rich history, world-changing history, quite frankly. Sleeping Beauty, I think, is one of the all-time great movies, full stop. All right, so I mentioned it yesterday, but I'll rehash for those that maybe didn't listen to that show. Look, here's the bracket, guys. And so much of this bracket is, coming down to the SMU Alabama debate. And I agree with how the committee prefaced everything yesterday, right? There's no perfect answer. Okay. Obviously, right? We're talking about deciding between, the 11th best team, essentially, as opposed to the 4th, which is why inherently this is a better system, right? Because if you're only taking 4 teams, a team could get really screwed that did everything they could, but you just didn't think they were good enough, a la Florida State last year. When you're deciding between the 11th and 12th team, you're entering so much gray area that, yes, you can craft arguments for either team to get in, and by extension, either team to get held out. But ultimately, I don't feel the sense of injustice for whoever gets left out because, again, you were the 11th to 12th best team in the entire country. So I understand that parties are upset, but again, I love this bracket here. I mean, we covered it yesterday's show. It covers the entirety of the country. It covers different styles of offense, different styles of defense, regional styles that are born of where these players grew up, where their football is played, what conference it may be played in, or a lack of a conference. If you look at Notre Dame, it has some surprises, a la, Indiana, SMU, hell, even Boise. I mean, Arizona State, is there a bigger surprise than Cam Scadaboo in Arizona State? I don't think so. But then it has your big dogs, your Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Clemson, little Clemson, here they are again. Adam says, I don't mind the teams, but the top half is so OP compared to the bottom. Again, I don't know that I agree necessarily. And a lot of people are going to point to Vegas spreads, right? And we'll talk about Vegas spreads a lot on today's show. But and there's countless examples of this. The Vegas spread had Alabama favored by 21 over Oklahoma. Okay, what happened? Remember last year, Vegas telling us there was no way that Washington would beat Oregon the first time, and there was definitely no way they were going to beat him the second time. And look what happened both times. For all the talk of look at the last time the most deserving team got in, and they talk about TCU, Georgia. Did we forget that TCU beat an undefeated Michigan before Georgia blew them out in the championship? Again, that was more about Georgia just being way far ahead, better than everyone, than it was about TCU being bad. The great part about this year's slate is I don't think you see a team like Georgia from that year. Right? If I'm just thinking about championship favorites, teams capable of winning the Natty, definitely Oregon, definitely Georgia. And I kind of have them standing out on an island. And then after that, I'll get into Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame. And then after that, maybe get into a next group. But the point is, there's no prohibitive favorite. This is a very exciting field. I think it's a much more competitive field than a lot of people are going to give it credit for. So I'm a massive fan of this, right? I hate that that we are acting like this isn't good or this isn't a good system when I think this 12-team playoff could not be more representative or more exciting or more fun in terms of encapsulating all of college football. As I said, my great fear in all of this is that you come out of this with people trying to homogenize college football, trying to smooth out its rough edges, trying to make it even more NFL-like. And trying to take away the varied and uneven nature that makes college football so great, right? Like the uneven nature of college football is not a bug. It's a feature. And I like it. Let's talk about, excuse me. Oh shit. I don't have any water. Let's talk about strength of schedule though. Okay. Because that seems to be the conversation that everybody wants to engage in. Because objectively, yes, the SEC is the best conference in terms of the talent on each and every team. But the point that I have never heard brought up, and maybe it has been, and maybe I'm accidentally stealing somebody's take. I don't believe I am. I believe I arrived at this independently myself. But the point that I never hear anybody talk about would be, I guess, what I would call relative strength of schedule. And when evaluating a regular season, it should absolutely matter, this idea of relative strength of schedule. And I would argue that Arizona State's road to the college football playoff was actually tougher than that of Alabama's. It was like, oh, T-Bob, what the hell, man? They played in the Big 12. Alabama played in the SEC. You saw the wins and whatnot. Okay, well, again, think about it on a relative sense, though. You have an Arizona State team that was picked to finish last in the Big 12. According to Vegas, according to talent out of high school, all these other metrics that you want to use to prop Alabama up, according to those metrics, Arizona State would have been punching up nearly every single week this season, playing teams that were supposed to be better than them, that were supposed to beat them. And what did they do? They end up going 11-2 with a dominant Big 12 championship statement in which they lose their most productive receiver, Jordan Tyson, and it's not even close. Remember, guys, Cam Scadaboo was the second leading receiver on this team behind Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson was quadrupling the production of the other receivers. To lose a player like that could have, and for most teams would have, been a break, a hurdle, a piece of adversity that would have broken them. What did Arizona State do? They came out and they dominated a good Iowa State team, win the Big 12, and punch their ticket to the playoff. So here you have an Arizona State team, picked to lose every week, picked to finish last, not a good roster according to the experts. Vegas thinks they're going to lose. And yeah, they went 11-2. Alabama, on the other hand, though, the same metrics that the Alabama fans want to throw in everybody's face as to why Alabama should make it. You know, look at the talent on the roster. Look at the strength. Look at the Vegas spread. If we were to play like Alabama would probably be favored over half this. That doesn't mean shit to me because Alabama is the inverse of Arizona State. They were punching down every single week. There was not a football field, maybe save for Georgia, that the Alabama Crimson Tide walked onto this football season. And we're at a talent disadvantage. Do you understand what I'm saying? Nearly every single team that Alabama played this year, they have way more recruiting talent than, and were favored very largely a couple of times by Las Vegas. So why didn't they win? And why should they be rewarded for that underachievement? Again, it's very simple, guys. Arizona State completely overachieved and over a 14-week regular season, a very large sample size. Arizona State earned their way to this opportunity by beating the teams that were just as good. Like that, it was a tougher road for Arizona State. They were beating teams that we consistently said were better than them. Alabama, on the other hand, was consistently better than every single team, and they underachieved and they lost. And sometimes they lost badly. 21-point favorites, and you lose by 21 to Oklahoma. It's a 42-point loss against the spread. It's fucking absurd. So you want me to reward the team that underachieved to that measure, that was favored in almost every single game, save for one, and yet lost 3? You want me to reward that team for their regular season over Arizona State? Why? Because they have better recruits? Because they would be favored by Vegas? Fuck out of here. If that's how you want to do the college football playoff, go ahead. It's not for me. I think that's dog shit. I think if that's what you want to do, then why play the games at all? Why not just get the Vegas rankings at the beginning of the season? Why not get the recruiting rankings, and then we'll just create a playoff and we'll go. Okay? Let's get to some of your comments, see who's telling me I'm an idiot here. Andrew Connolly, yeah, their non-conference was a cakewalk. They're talking about making it easier. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. Von Bluesman, no, that's about. Let me see. Andrew Connolly, this would be a better bracket if they didn't give auto buys to conference champions. They should get the auto bids, but give the buys to the top 4, or move it to 14 teams and get 2 buys said. It's funny. I was talking with a lot of my Alabama friends this morning, and I was trolling them about how, I think Boise State absolutely deserves a 3 seed. Arizona State deserves a 4 seed. And look, there's a part of me that does think it's cool that conference championship gets you a bye. I think it still lends credence to the conference championship game. I mean, you saw what it meant to Kirby, right? Straight up taking a shot at Sankey in the post game after getting that bye. But I agree with this. Look, I've been very upfront here on Snaps. When it comes to the opportunity to get into the bracket, I do feel very strongly about what gets you in. When it comes to how you want to seed it, I don't care at all. Seed it however the fuck you want. I want you to manipulate it so that we avoid a lot of rematches, so that we avoid conference on conference matchups. And again, if we look at this, I feel they did a pretty good job of that. I mean, we potentially get an Ohio State-Oregon rematch, which is a little lame. But besides that, there's no conference on conference in here. So yeah, seeding, you want to get rid of You want to get rid of auto buys? I like auto bids. You want to get rid of auto buys? I'm fine with that. That's not a bad point. Chip Halverson says, but who is arguing about Arizona State? Nobody's arguing about Arizona State. I'm using Arizona State or SMU or whoever as the measuring stick for my point, right? Just because a conference is harder does not mean I have to reward you for strength of schedule. I think it doesn't mean you don't. You look at everything, right? But I think just as important, if we're talking about deserving, if we're getting into gray area, right? And we're deciding between the 10th, 11th team, whatever, just as important. It's like, okay, what did Vegas and all these other things you're using to determine strength schedule, what did it say about your chance to win those games? And did you overachieve or did you underachieve? And without a doubt, this Alabama team objectively underachieved. And why would I reward that for an SMU who overachieved versus an Indiana who overachieved versus any of these other teams who did? Michael Bragg, when its strength of record, solved this. I don't know, actually. I don't know exactly what strength of record is. Is it this? Is it what I'm talking about? Is it like your level? Is it like, you know how stuff's opponent adjusted? Is this adjusted for your own level as well? Maybe so. I don't know, to be honest, Michael. I'll have to look up more strength of record. Chip Halverson, I have a problem with 4 teams who didn't have a top 20 win or beat a top 20 team. Again, sometimes you can only win the games that are on your schedule. These teams did that. I don't think this was a case where you had a team that was clearly operating on a different level than the rest of their conference. So now SMU would probably be the closest there, without a doubt. They had the easiest Power 4 schedule in the entire country entering. But again, SMU on an even playing field with those ACC teams. And yet they found a way throughout the entirety of the season. They found a way to win. And yeah, and you look at it, Texas. I mean, there's a lot of things, but it is, and yes, it is an imperfect system. It is an imperfect system. But I don't know that I see a team on here, and I don't think that they're deserving. I think this is an entire season in which they earned their way in here. Alabama beat down LSU for sure. Yeah, but LSU beat Vandy and Oklahoma. So, and that happened after the Alabama loss. So, ipso facto, law of transitive sports properties, 2 is greater than 1. LSU is actually better than Alabama. El says T-Bob's obvious that Bama shouldn't be in the 12. I'm Bama. Okay. All right, let's see if there's anything else with reading here, guys, and we're going to move on. Bo Kinney says, because they have better recruits, better coaches, better facilities, and a way better program, T-Bob just wants to brush all that off and act like it's just Vegas odds. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think that you're proving my point. So you're telling me that Alabama has the best coaches, the best facilities, and a way better program, right? So that's my point, is that, yes, they were better than every single team on their schedule. Maybe save for Georgia. So why did they lose 3 games, not including Georgia, right? If they have all of those advantages, if they have the best of the best, why is that the case? Savannah Jackson, hope you got to use that ashtray. Savannah, I don't know, dude. I never seen the ashtray. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. I asked my wife. Maybe I lost it sometimes. John Glasgow, T-Bob, why aren't the top 12 teams from the rankings in instead of this championship Fugazi? Because again, guys, you want to, like, college football is about the conferences. Do you want to get rid of that? Do you really want to hurdle into the money-driven Super League of like just the Big Ten and the SEC? I don't. we can maintain the wide and wonderful and varied and quirky nature of college football that spans the breadth of the entire country. I fucking learned today that Boise's west of Las Vegas. That blew my fucking mind. Okay? I want to keep that. Winning a regular season championship should matter. It should matter. We have the NFL if you want that football. We already have that NFL. We already have that. CJ says, if you don't deserve that buy or that bid, you don't get it. Recruiting rankings don't decide games. The good teams that earn their chance will still win. So, I mean, we agree. I do like the auto buy if you're trying to retain conference championship games. If you want to get rid of conference championship games, then maybe you get rid of the auto buy. But I like the auto bid and the auto buy for that reason, right? Like, I do think it's interesting and good for the sport and fun that a Clemson team only had one avenue to getting in, and that was by winning the ACC. They had to take care of business in their conference. They didn't always take care of business this season, but they had their one avenue in which to find a way in. Shout out to Fran Brown and Syracuse, getting it done for them, opening the door by beating Miami. You know what? And you know, the old saying says, sometimes better be lucky than good. Well, Clemson definitely got lucky here, but in life, sometimes opportunity is going to come knock at that door, and you know, it's up for you to decide what you're going to do with it. Oh my God, I've talked about this so long. All right. Let's have a second championship called the On 3/24/7 Sports Championship, where the best roster gets a trophy. Yeah. Bo Kenny says, diehard UJ fan, hate Bama, glad they aren't in, but if you think SMU and Bama play, you tell me you pick SMU. T-Ball, that's wild even for you. Okay, so here's my point, is that's not the point. That's not the point. That's the entire thing I'm talking about all day. Of course, Alabama would be favored over SMU. That does not make them a playoff team, because 3 times this year we saw them as big favorites lose. And also, I refuse to think the gap is as wide as you think it is. Like, how do we have so much confidence and think we know how these games are going to play out when they every single weekend we come in here shocked, celebrating upsets that we never would have seen coming? Underachieve, overachieve. Those are the words. P-Bob, is the A in the snaps logo supposed to look like a center's ass? Maybe so. I've actually never considered that. Okay, I'm sorry. I've probably spent too long in this, so if I missed your comment, I apologize. There's a lot of comments in here, but I get the point. I'm just belaboring the point here. Portmanteau, no? I guess I'm kind of still on this subject though, because here are Greg Burns' comments. Greg Byrne tweeted, and that's the Alabama AD, disappointed with the outcome and felt we were one of the 12 best teams in the country. We had an extremely challenging schedule and recognized there were 2 games in particular that we did not perform as well as we should have. We have said that we would need to show how strength of schedule would be evaluated by the CFP. With this outcome, we will need to assess how many Power 4 non-conference games make sense in the future to put us in the best position to participate in the CFP. This is not good for college football. With that said, we do not need to hang our heads and need to finish this season strong. We have a great group of young men who have led us with Coach DeBoer through the last year, and we look forward to our opportunity in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Roll Tide. He said that. So a few different problems to break down here. You know, when we talk about like gaslighting, people might say red herring arguments. I don't know that I found a more clear example of gaslighting on the internet today. And the community notes got him here, as you can see in the screenshot of tweet. Because as readers added, right, this Twitter's community notes features, readers added context, all you might want to know. Quote, all of Alabama's losses came in conference play. Alabama's non-conference schedule was one of the easiest in the country. playing 2 Group of 5 schools, Western Kentucky and USF, 1 FCS school, and 1 Power 4 team, the 5-7 Wisconsin Badgers, who finished 12th in the Big Ten. So this is a problem. Greg Burns trying to piss on you and tell you it's raining. He's trying to use this threat of this is not good for college football. Why would anybody be incentivized to schedule good out-of-conference games when he did not lose any out-of-conference games, nor did he schedule any good out-of-conference games? He lost to teams in his conference, which all these other playoff teams did not do. So, Greg, again, don't fucking piss on me and tell me it's raining, okay? Just piss on me because I understand you're upset because you thought you should get in and you didn't. Wait, actually, I think oh yeah, that's right. Okay. I forgot.
No.
I just read that entire quote. I'm an idiot. I forgot that I actually had audio of Greg Byrne discussing that very quote. Here it is.
No.
No. Oh no, dude.
No.
Oh. Greg, it's okay. You just can't make it this year. No, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, guys, relax. Just a little fun. Chill out. That is not the vibe, though. Like, the amount of bitching out of Alabama fans because they didn't get what they feel like is their birthright this year it reminds me a lot of my children. You know who else kind of pissed me off today? I guess I got a lot of pseudo angry energy for a lot of people. Here is let me find this. This is Kirk Herbstreit, and I love Kirk. And that's the crazy part about this is that I think everybody loves Kirk. Like, I know very few people who don't like oh yeah, sorry, Darren. I'm not at home right now. I don't have an office at home. So I'm in my work office. So like, yeah, I can be as loud as I want here. But here is Kirk Herbstreit talking to Greeny on some ESPN show. And I got to call out Kirk's response here.
Most interesting, in your opinion, as you have lived this sport for decades, do you think it would be fair to penalize a team because it played an additional game because it qualified for its conference championship?
Well, after last year, I've learned I have no opinions about anything. I think everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets in. I want no death threats. I want no punishment for 8 months from #FSU Twitter. So I have no opinion on anything. I love everybody. But
most interesting.
I mean, come on, Kirk. What are we doing here, dude? What are we doing here? Well, just own your take. You didn't believe FSU should get in last year without Jordan Travis. Like, I completely disagree, but own your takes. You're beloved. You're one of the centerpieces of college football. I mean, you're so beloved that, like, I drive around town here, I see Cane's billboards honoring the passing of your golden retriever. Like, everybody loves you. Okay, so yeah, you made FSU mad last year. Of course you did. It's not hard to understand why. What is this? Everybody gets a trophy shit. Like, come on, that's not the point. You know that's not the point. This is a chicken shit answer. I don't know. I didn't love it. But I love Herbie. I love Herbie, to be clear. I think he's incredible. Nothing makes me happier than how Kirk Herbstreit has gone to bat for Lee Corso on game day. I think we should all be lucky as to have someone in our corner like Herbie. I think he's awesome on the Thursday calls. I think he's even better on the college football calls. I've loved him on game day for decades. I don't know why he let the FSU stuff get to him so much. Maybe it is the death threat, Scott. That is true. I mean, death threats, I mean, that's way too much. That's way too much. But again, I guess I just grew up in the age of the internet where it's like just death threats come with the territory, right? I don't know. Ryan Smith asks me, am I going to address the women in sports thing? I was not going to, but I guess I might as well do it quickly here. Let me bring up the tweet. So this guy, TJ Moe, who I guess works for Jason Whitlock and Blaze, tweeted, who actually wants, it's a picture of women talking football on ESPN. He says, who actually wants to watch three women stand around and talk about football? I do not. And then he responds after getting 22 million views. Good on him. Engagement farming, which is what we all do. I'm sorry. I said that like a pejorative. I engage in farm every day. This tweet upsets some folks. So let me clarify. No one wants to listen to three women talk football. Men are better at it. It's like asking cats to bark. I issue no apologies and no retracts. Most people agree with me. They're just afraid to say it. Carry on with your outrage. I think this is mind-numbingly dumb as fuck. To the point where I don't like even almost want to address it. Like, oh, and I forgot, TJ Moe lettered 4 years at Mizzou. So I apologize. Elite ball knower. But like, have you ever, like, and the people I've been asking to respond to this, like, so y'all, if you're someone who feels like TJ Moe does, like, you've never had or listened to a conversation with a woman about football that you enjoyed? Are you fucking dumb? And I think it was like Torrey Smith was in there like, bro, I know multiple female, NFL legend Torrey Smith was like, I know multiple females that would dog walk you, blah, blah, talking about football, and makes a very salient point that everybody does, that like, you don't have to play football to talk about it. There's a shit ton of coaches and analysts who will forget more football than I'll ever know, and they didn't let her 4 years at LSU or let her 4 years at Mizzou. I think this idea that women can't talk about football is so dumb. Not just, it's dumb conceptually. It's actually probably most dumb conceptually, but it's really shockingly dumb to me because I talk to women about football every single fucking week and have a great time. The producer on my morning show, Alondra, is great. One of my best friends in the world, Rivers, is excellent at talking about football. You know who doesn't give a fuck about football? My wife. And that's fine. Like, that's the other thing TJ doubles down. He's like, as you see in the responses, a lot of the people, a lot of women are agreeing with me. First off, a lot of those women are some Sabrina from Hand's Tale having ass, you know? Fuck out of here. But secondly, yeah, it's because they don't like football. Of course, like, hello, McFly. It's fun to talk to people about things they are passionate about. So if you like football, I'm going to want to fucking talk to you. And if you don't, we can talk about something else. What the fuck world am I living in where this is not obvious? So yeah, that's how I feel. You're a fucking idiot if you believe with TJ Moe. Like, talk to a female. I host a show called Whiskey and Wine every weekend where we do a post-game show. Before we do that show, we watch this game at the cigar bar. And there are like 4 or 5 women in the crew that come every single week and know just as much as the boys and have just as much of a good time as cutting it up with the boys. Get the fuck out of here. This is so stupid. I mean, okay, let's take a fucking TJ Moe. You lettered 4 years at Mizzou. Christian sports real estate contributor. Okay. So let's see. Like, I wonder if, wait, hold up. Why is TJ Moe tweeting about politics? I see real estate. I see Christian. I see sports. Why is he tweeting about was he a politician? Was he ever a politician? Then why is he tweeting about politics? How would he know? He's never been in those fights before. You fucking idiot. God, I hate you so much. I just hate this lowbrow, anti-intellectual bullshit, low-hanging fruit that all the morons glom onto. Anyway. Sorry. I didn't mean I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up. All right. Next up on this list. Okay, let's get into some portal news, guys. Well, first off, not that I have a lot to say here. Two coaching pieces of information. Scott Frost back at UCF. That's right. He's currently an analyst on the Rams. And he's now going to be the UCF head coach again. I mean, chat, you let me know what you think. I got to be honest. I have no clue whether this is a good move at all. Like, zero clue. No idea. I think it's impossible to know. First off, his time at UCF was interesting. Okay, year one, incredible year two, undefeated season, beating Auburn in the Peach Bowl. We all know it was, national champ. Shout out Chris Tran wherever you're at. But then he goes to Nebraska and he fails mightily. And then he gets fired. And in the 2 years that he has been gone, literally everything has changed with the game. Like the fabric of college football has changed. So I don't even know if I thought Scott Frost was a very good coach in the old college football. I have no idea if he's going to be a good college coach in the new college football. Maybe he will. But guys, I have no idea if it's going to be good or not. But Scott Frost going back to UCF. Adam says it's like going back to your ex. Could it be fun? Yeah, well, probably, maybe, but it's probably going to end poorly. Yeah, I think I agree with that. We'll get to the Carson Beck news as well in a minute. Actually, we'll do that after this, guys. And then the other news: Jon Sumrall, Tulane head coach, one of the premier names in this new cycle to watch out for. That's been linked to every single job. Jon Sumrall has informed the school that he is going to be staying put in Tulane. That is massive news for the Wave. Oh wait, where's the? Okay, so I got a couple Sumrall clips to play here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, here it is. So this is Jon Sumrall. This comes from Fletcher Mackel, WDSU, my homie. This is Jon Sumrall asked about other jobs.
Am I here? I mean, my good. Do you want me to leave? No. All right. I get asked about it every day right now, and I'm like, I mean, after I know we lost 2 games, everybody wants to run me out of town, but I'm here. I showed up to work today. I'm not going to comment about hypotheticals, and I'm trying to figure out how we can win a game. And people, look, Gary, people call. They call my agent. I don't talk to them very often. Like, very little gets to me. Very little. Like, almost nothing gets to me. I'm not talking. When it gets to me, it's usually because I'm like, this is something that could be really something I need to consider. Nothing's getting to me right now. I could say that. Nothing's getting to me. Could that change? I mean, I don't know. If some newspaper tripled your salary, you might go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
True.
I'm very happy.
True.
Other than we've lost the last 2 games, I'm pissed off about that. And everybody probably wants me to leave because we've lost twice. I don't know. My kids are mad at me. So I want to win a game for these guys. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. I'm not wearing a Tulane logo because I went to church this morning. I don't wear Tulane gear to church.
So okay, I like that. So that's what he said before, and then you're like, oh, well, team up. That's not necessarily a denial. So Pete Thamel, here's the Pete Thamel tweet. Sources: Tulane coach Jon Sumrall has informed Tulane officials he's not pursuing any of the open jobs in this cycle. Sumrall's name has been one of interest for all the Power 4 jobs, and then Sumrall quote tweeted with the "I'm not fucking leaving" from Wolf of Wall Street. So if you're a Tulane fan, congratulations, Jon Sumrall not going to be leaving you. Darian Mensah, your excellent retro freshman quarterback, I'm not so sure. He's hit the portal. He's represented by Young Money, and they want a 7-figure deal. And of course he does. Why wouldn't you? everybody wants what they've earned. Darian Mintz has earned a 7-figure deal. If somebody's going to give it to him, and somebody will. And so my hope for Tulane would be that they could come up with an offer good enough to entice Mintz to stay with Sumrall, even if it's not the highest number, but only time will tell in that regard. And it's hard to blame. It's hard to blame Mintz for trying to maximize profit, because I mean, he talks about it, man. His mom was a single mother of 3 who gave them excellent lives on an acupuncturist salary and worked her ass off, saying that she means everything to him. Without a doubt, there she did everything. And here he is. He's played his way into $1 million payday. Fuck yes. Pay that man. Allow that man to take care of his family. And here's hoping that Tulane could come up with. Tulane's got a lot of money. Can they galvanize their base? Can they create the money? Do they care enough about football? We'll see. But shout out to Darian Mintz either way. All right. So in some injury news, guys, Carson Beck, it's a UCL. They're not saying exact timelines yet. They're saying that, though, it's looking like he, what's the exact verbiage here? Because I think some people may get upset with me if I don't read it exactly. Let's see here. Beckman's second half, this comes with Pete Nykus article on 3. Beckman's second half of the SC title game with his arm injury. Georgia now has to turn around and play the winner of Notre Dame, Indiana in the Sugar Bowl on January 1st. There's no clear timetable at this time for a return. So no clear timetable, but it's leaning towards probably not going to play. And that's massive. I mean, it's impossible not to say that's massive. I know I was impressed with what Gunnar Stockton did in a very adverse situation, but you're talking about a guy in Beck who thought entering the season was thought to be the number 1 pick in the entire draft. And I know it's been an up and down year, probably a bit of a disappointing year for the majority of Georgia fans, but at the end of the day, that's still an uber experienced quarterback with a ton of success. And you go from him to a guy that has almost no experience. Now, you like Gunnar Stockton a lot. You love, again, his toughness. By the way, does Gunnar Stockton have a concussion, guys? Because he got murdered at the end of that game the other day. Okay, Chance says Bryce Young had it happen to him. He's out 2 weeks. Okay, so maybe it's like that. Maybe there really is no time bill. Maybe I'm just being a bit hyperbolic or Chicken Little seeing the term UCL. But that's massive, dude. Like if Carson Beck is not playing, I don't know that earlier I said like, okay, my real national championship contenders, Oregon, Georgia. I don't know if I can have Georgia in that top tier of the bracket if you don't have Carson Beck. I just don't know that I could do it. Gunnar Stockton's too much of an unknown. I don't know why. Okay, no concussion on Gunnar. Wow, what a fucking legend, dude. The way that his knee bent when he got hit was insane. And look, a lot of y'all are saying no concussion, like they're lying, using air quotes, but that can happen. Concussions are weird. You can get fucked up and not have a concussion. I don't know why it is. It's an inexact science. Sometimes it looks like you can get not that hard and you can get like knocked out bad. Billy Boy says, I'd rather have Gunnar over to limited throwing arm Beck. Well, yeah, a limited Beck for sure. If he can't throw, then he can't play. But you would not rather have Gunnar than Beck, right? Because if you're saying that, then maybe you've let your disappointment in Beck go a step too far. But that's some potential major playoff news. JV Senior Pro, he had a concussion. I don't know. I don't know, dude. They said he did. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, you're not saying that. Okay, yeah, Billy Boy, cool. All right. Next up on this list. You want to see my favorite thing that I saw all weekend, guys? This is from the MAC championship here. This is Parker Titsworth. Okay. I don't know the full Parker Titsworth story, but according to this tweet from Grant Kiefer, who covers this team. This is Ohio. They beat Miami of Ohio when they weren't supposed to in the MAC championship. It says Titsworth has been in this program as a player longer than anyone else. Played for Solich and Albin, emotional on the sideline, realizing he will finally be a champion. Look, guys, here's the deal about college football, and part of the reason I love it so much. We talk about the big dogs constantly, all of that, but I don't care what level of college football you play at. I don't care if it's Division I, if it's FBS, FCS, if it's Division II, Division III. In talking to friends, athletes throughout every level of football, one thing I have learned is that the hard work is exactly the same. These cats at Ohio, they're doing all the summer conditioning. They're doing all the winter conditioning. They're waking up early in the morning just like everybody else is. Like it's no different. It's just kind of the level of scrutiny, the level of glory. Those are the differences. Level of play, whatever. So like Parker Titsworth, just like your favorite Ohio State player, just like your favorite Georgia, Alabama, LSU, whoever player, he's committed his life to this shit. He's been here trying to climb that mountain, become a champion. And here is Parker Titsworth on the sideline realizing he's finally got there. This is on number 69 with the last name Titsworth, sobbing because he loves this game, dude. Because he loves this game. I mean, that right there, that shit gives me goosebumps. I saw that this weekend and I was almost moved to tears, probably because, you know, I think we've been there before. If you've ever cried tears of joy after a mission accomplished, and I don't care if it's junior high football, high school football, I don't care if it's a project or a big break that you really worked on to earn it in your life, like that's the stuff that makes it all worth it. Shout out to Parker Titsworth, dude. Oh, we got another video of Titsworth. Look at our king. Look at our king. Put some respect on 69's name. Screenshot this man. What a legend. What's it say here? He's been with the Ohio program since 2019. 2019. And now he's a champion. Shout out Parker Titsworth. What a legend. God, that makes me so happy. All right, let's run through some transfer portal news, and then we'll get to Scalding Crew review. Okay, so Miller Moss is visiting Mizzou in Louisville this week. Louisville's thought to be the player to beat. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm taking all of this from On3. Okay, I pay for On3. I don't do commercials or anything for them. So, you know, I'm sure 247 has good stuff. I'm sure Rivals has good stuff. I sent it for On3. It doesn't matter, whatever. But I'm just letting you know where I got this from. Jackson Arnold. How about this? On3 today saying they believe Jackson Arnold is going to end up at Mississippi State. Let's go. Jeff Levy, who recruited Jackson Arnold to Oklahoma. Remember, Aaron Murray told us Jeff Levy very high on Jackson Arnold. Jackson looking like he may be going back to Levy. That becomes very exciting and a massive get for Mississippi State, if that is indeed the case. Also, probably a good thing for Arnold. Step back out of the Uber spotlight that you occupied at Oklahoma, where we're talking about you every single day. Get out of the spotlight a bit. Get back to work with an OC that you originally had a great relationship that believed in you, and both of y'all help each other reach that next level. Connor Wegman, they're talking Houston, Utah, Louisville, Mizzou. Who cares? Caden Salter going to be visiting Syracuse on Friday. He's also lined up trips to Colorado. That seems to be one that people are very excited about. Auburn and UCLA, Florida State potentially as well. I'm not sure what to make of Caden Salter. There's some advanced analytics that say that maybe his year 2 years ago, while statistically very good, is maybe a bit of a false flag. I don't know. Darian Mintz is one of the big names to watch here. Syracuse and then Matt Mix as well. What's it? I mean, again, keep saying Syracuse. I thought Kyle McCord had multiple years, and they're paying him $800K. So Syracuse and Fran Brown has proven beyond a shadow of doubt they will pay. But like Miami will have to think very hard about Mensah. right? Like he's from California originally. There's maybe UCLA. Like, yeah, there's plenty of schools that should be going after Mensah. This is very interesting. So Boston College quarterback Thomas Castellanos is in the portal. And if you remember Castellanos, he was kind of one of the darlings of the preseason. And then he gets benched and he quit. He quit after he got benched. And listen to this from Andrea Kramer. This is from a CBS Sports show. But she was texting Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien did not mince words on how he felt about Thomas Castellanos.
To us from the Boston Globe, Andrea.
Yeah, all right. So I'm a dinosaur. I actually read newspaper.
Oh, I so
All right,
appreciate it.
So here we go. All right. Castellanos leaves BC after benching. Okay, Thomas Castellanos, who's been was the starting quarterback for Boston College Eagles. He quit on his team. Okay, it's
true.
Not,
Preach.
He was benched and he announced his intention to transfer. He quit on his team. This rankled me so much. What if Grayson James, the starter, gets hurt? What about supporting your teammates to keep them going throughout the rest of the season?
Yep.
So it rankled me so much, I reached out to Boston College head coach Bill O'Brien. This is what he said to me. Quote, he said, he brought in Castellanos and told him he is making him second team and to view it as an opportunity to sit back, learn, improve, work hard, and be ready. Bill O'Brien said he didn't like it and he left the team. Now, I asked OB, I said, does this typify the issue with players transferring? And he said, 99% of our guys are tough and smart. He was an outlier at BC. So listen, a few thousand players last year entered the transfer portal. How do you quit on your team? And I imagine Castellanos.
Look, what a great point by Andrea Kramer there, and what great insight by Bill O'Brien. Very strong statement from O'Brien, right? Basically saying, nah, dude, that dude's a quitter. 99% of the roster we got, that dude's a quitter. And I think Andrew Kramer is exactly right. Thousands of players are entering the portal, but how few of them quit in the middle of the season? They got benched. The ultimate example of this will forever and always be Jalen Hurts. Why is Jalen Hurts so successful in life? Because he handles shit the right way. There's the old Clemson quarterback. I can't remember his name at this point exactly, who got benched for Trevor Lawrence in the middle of the season. What did he do? He quit on his team, walked away. We never heard from him again. Then you look at Jalen Hurts. He gets benched for Tua Tagovailoa, despite a stellar record, SC officer, all the accolades that he had at the time. What did he do? Said okay. He stayed on the team. He continued to work his ass off. He eventually would save said team in the SEC championship in a beautiful narrative inversion of the storyline that happened the year before. And then he waited until the season was in and he had served his role for his brothers. And then he transferred and he went on to be a Heisman finalist at Oklahoma and probably should have won the Heisman if Joe Burrow didn't have the most other godly season that we could possibly fathom. Andrew Kramer's exactly right here. This transfer portal era, we want to treat all these kids who are transferring as soft or this or that. But the vast majority of them didn't quit on the team. The vast majority took care of their business and then decided to try to pursue what's best for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would have a massive problem with Thomas Castellanos. This is a huge red flag, just a giant red flag. And anybody who recruits him, and he's good, so he will be recruited. Anybody who recruits him has to be very concerned. This is a big bummer, dude. Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr., freshman All-American last year, awesome this year. One of those million tiny super fast guys Georgia Tech seem to have. He's in the portal, And if you look at the dearth of weapons around the SEC at times with some teams like Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Eric Singleton is going to be huge. Casey Concepcion from NC State. I think it said Louisville. I was getting confused. I'm an idiot. But Concepcion's an incredible receiver from NC State. He's in the portal. The early teams to watch there, Alabama and A&M. Alabama especially going to make a huge push. Again, that makes a lot of sense. Kentucky wide receiver Barry and Brown. They say LSU's the early leader there, but Ole Miss, A&M, Florida State's in there. Keyshawn Silver, who again, Kentucky D lineman, that they say may be the highest paid non-quarterback of this entire cycle. Florida State and Miami in on them. That's how you get paid. Another Kentucky player, Dane Key, wide receiver in the mix. People say Nebraska. Is there anything else here worth? CJ Daniels, Nebraska. Okay, interesting. And look, there's a lot more names, but not maybe any that have too much name recognition. That'll do it. There's your little portal recap. That'll do it for today's show. Now we can talk about the fun stuff. Guys, we got to talk about Skeleton Crew. My God. What a show, guys. Hold on one second. I want to bring up a little image just so we can have it while we talk about it. Bokini, no shot T-Buff's not commenting on Belichick to UNC. Production got to step up. Shit. They did. He interviewed, right? I mean, it seems crazy to me that he would want to coach college football, but who knows? Maybe he would. Also, I would say, doesn't he have a college cheerleader girlfriend? So maybe he's uniquely inspired or well suited to be in the college game right now. I don't know. I can't say anything about it. I have no idea. UNC talks are real. Reported they're continued by ESPN. Damn. I gotta wonder, dude. I mean, he definitely has. He has more experience than anyone scouting, right? Kelly Bryant was a Clemson QB. Thank you, SB. Good call. He has a ton of time scouting. So like, maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I got to read about it. That's on me. That's on me. I apologize. All right. Skeleton Crew, brand new Star Wars show from Disney Plus. Let's talk about where I think Star Wars is in the Disney Plus era. I am someone who loves Force Awakens. Well, first of all, okay, I the original trilogy is obviously some of the best movies of my entire life. I've always really loved the prequels. I grew up with them. I was targeted by them. I think there's a lot of good there. And then in retrospect, we finally come around to. Also, part of it's just that the kids that are my age got older. The sequel trilogy. One of the best nights of my life was getting off radio at midnight back in 2016, 15, 14, whatever it was, 16, I think. And going to a theater in Harahan and watching a 12:30 showing of Force Awakens. Felt like my hair was on fire. Here was this beautiful relaunch. And yes, was it very similar to New Hope? It was, but it was kind of like New Hope, but inverse, right? In New Hope, we find Luke Skywalker a very reluctant hero. In Rey, you have someone, or excuse me, reverse that. In New Hope, you have Luke, somebody who wanted to desperately get out of there, wanted to go be a hero, wanted to be on the big stage, fight the Empire, all this sort of stuff. In Rey, you had someone who didn't want to leave. She missed her parents. She's waiting for them to come back, felt like she couldn't leave, a reluctant hero. The Death Star in A New Hope is an agent of peace, in all honesty, right? You destroyed to preserve, to hold the peace. In Force Awakens, Starkiller Base is a weapon of just pure destruction and chaos. And the list goes on and on, right? You can find all these wonderful symmetries that actually are inverse with one another. All to say, is it the exact same storyline? Yes, but I don't think that's inherently bad. Because ultimately the execution of the characters, of the design, of the feel, the sound, the look was all the perfect relaunch. J.J. Abrams absolutely nailed it. Then you get to Last Jedi with Rian Johnson. And many people hate Last Jedi. I think it's a masterpiece. Maybe not a masterpiece. It's flawed. It's flawed. But I do think it was really exciting and exactly what I wanted out of a sequel trilogy. It set these new characters up to take center stage. It started to remove a lot of the excess baggage. You had Kylo Ren in a very meta way talking to us, forget about the Sith and the Jedi, forget about the past. Like the time is now, right? Only people couldn't do that. And if we really want to, we can do another show on the story of Luke Skywalker and Last Jedi and how it was handled very well. But unfortunately, there was a ton of fan blowback when it came to Last Jedi. Even though I think it was technically the best directed movie, it's not particularly close. Production value is unfucking real. A lot of blowback though. And Kathleen Kennedy capitulated. And I got to be clear about Kathleen Kennedy. She's an interesting person to talk about because her name has become so infused with politics that if you criticize her, you're, a right-wing incel. And if you celebrate her, you're a left-wing libtard. I reject all of that. As we'll get to with stuff like Acolyte, shows are not good or bad because of who they cast. They're not good or bad if they have a female or male main character. They are good or bad because they are good or bad. Is the show executed on? Is it done well? Okay, that's what determines it. So all that to say that watching Kathleen Kennedy capitulate to the masses and completely reverse course the Rise of Skywalker, to go back to J.J. Abrams, to bring the Emperor, just a fucking absolute disaster. Rise of Skywalker is the single biggest misstep that has ever been made in Star Wars, and it continues to affect the rest of the Star Wars universe. So then we get to Disney Plus outputs. Unfucking real start with Mando season 1 and 2. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Favreau, Filoni, you can feel the passion, the volume, this new way of making films really works, really revolutionary. Din Djarin, the Grogu design, everything top to bottom. The end of Mandalorian season 2 was one of the greatest episodes I've ever seen in my entire life. I remember holding my child, tears in my eyes, as Grogu reaches out to touch Din Djarin's face. Who knows when the last time his face has been touched is. Just a fucking masterpiece. Ludwig Göransson's music. Mwah, 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 mwah. Unreal. Every now and then in movies, TV shows, whatever, when people talk about movie making magic, I think about movies, it's a group of, it's a real hodgepodge of disparate disciplines, right? Sound, effects, costume design, acting, directing. Thousands of people come together. And if you've worked in any sort of workplace, you know how hard it is to get 5 people moving in the right direction. So that's why so many movies and so many shows are disasters, because how could they not be? You're trying to achieve the impossible and bring together all these different disciplines and make them work as a cohesive, singular entity. But when it works, that's magic. That's the movie making magic. And Mando season 2 had that. Really did. And then unfortunately, I think we capitulated again. Boba Fett, not good. I love Robert Rodriguez. I don't know what the fuck went so wrong in how he chose to film Boba Fett. I think they tried to do an almost like 70s campy action show, which I don't hate conceptually, but the execution just made Boba Fett look like a shitty fighter. Also, why was he such a good guy? Why was he such a good guy? He's a bad guy, you know? Cad Bane was right. Boba Fett's a cold-blooded killer. Like, he didn't need to be a fucking good guy. I didn't need the parkour boys to somehow defeat Boba Fett. He should have been way stronger. So Boba Fett's a misstep. But the biggest misstep in Boba Fett is not anything to do with Boba Fett. It's Mando. Because against all odds, again, we arrived at a capitulation, this time to marketing, in my opinion. For some unknown reason, they decide to have 2 Mando episodes in the middle of Boba Fett, which are weird enough on its own. But in the height of fucking insanity, they chose to have 2 episodes of Boba Fett in which they completely negate what happened at the end of season 2 of Mando. Remember the giant emotional decision that had us all crying at the end of season 2 of Mando when Grogu chooses to go with Luke Skywalker to start the new Jedi school over Mando? What? Wow, that matters. That's impactful. Well, then if you show up for season 3 of Mando, all of a sudden Grogu and Mando are back together. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. At Boba Fett, we decided that they're back together now. And into season 2 never happened. What? What are we talking about? Why? Marketing? Toys? Because you can't have Mando without Grogu? And I understand that fear. But it's like David Bowie says. When you get out, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but when you get out in the water, you know, a little out of your depth, and you feel like you can barely touch ground. Maybe you can't touch ground. You feel like you're about to drown. That's when you have the chance to make something really exciting happen. And maybe that's the problem with Disney right now and Star Wars and Marvel movies, is that outside of, you know, maybe like a couple of things, for the most part, they're just focus grouping everything to death. There's no edge. There's no chances, no excitement. It's antiseptic. It's smooth and white and sterile. And then you get Mando season 3, and it's like, well, what does any of this matter anymore as much? And it's just all right. And Ludwig Göransson moves on from the music because Christopher Nolan comes calling so he can do music for Oppenheimer. And of course, when Christopher Nolan comes calling, you fucking go. Because you're made man all of a sudden. You're a legend. And the music was fine, but it was no longer revolutionary, as was nothing with Mando season 3. Obi-Wan, a show that ultimately, I believe, suffered at the hands of COVID. Some very, very high highs. The Obi-Wan and Anakin duel, I will never forget. Fucking fantastic. But Obi-Wan also suffered for some really low lows and some really poor production values, in my opinion, that are almost entirely accreditable. To COVID. And then you get to Ahsoka season 1. I loved Ahsoka season 1. I'd actually have that as a win. Now, I think Ahsoka season 1 comes with the baggage of you really have to love or maybe know Clone Wars and Rebels to fully appreciate it. But I thought Ahsoka season 1 was really beautiful and well done on so many different levels. And I love seeing Hayden Christensen back. I think, oh my God, why am I blanking on her name? Rosario Dawson, I think, is excellent Ahsoka. I mean, hell, Mando season 2, when you first see Ahsoka, is one of the coolest episodes of all time, directed by Filoni. And you can see his artistic animation background in that direction. I mean, there's about 1 million shots in that episode of season 2 that I could point to and say, look at that, visually stunning. Everything's a composition. Same thing with the Ahsoka TV show. I thought that was a hit, in my opinion. Then we get to Acolyte. Fucking disaster. I don't know, dude. I watched one episode and it had nothing to do. I'm not trying to politicize it. Hell, if anything, you know where I fall on the political spectrum. I didn't refuse to watch Acolyte, DJ Trauma. I just didn't like it. A TV show has to spur me to want to watch it. If I don't catch myself wanting to watch the show in my limited free time, why would I? And is there any greater, and I'm not saying that, look, Acolyte's not good to me. Sorry. Like, this is all opinion. You know, if you like Acolyte, good, fine, whatever. I like Last Jedi, right? Everybody tells me I'm a fucking idiot. That's fine. But like, ultimately, I judge a lot of shows, but like, do I want to get home and watch it? Am I excited to watch it? And no, I didn't even really, I think I watched 2 episodes of Acolyte. I don't even know if I finished the second one. So no, Acolyte sucked, in my opinion. Andor, incredible. Of course it's incredible. You got Tony Gilroy writing. That's a legitimate, one of the best actors, one of the best writers in all of Hollywood. Didn't he write Michael Clayton, which I have a brother-in-law who's a screenwriter, and he says in like screenwriter circles that Michael Clayton is viewed as like one of the greatest screenplays of all time. The Bourne movies, of course, like Tony Gilroy's a legend. And he brought all of that legendary reputation. He brought it to bear in Andor. I mean, the Skellen Skarsgård monologue, Luthen Rail's monologue, is one of the best monologues I've ever seen put on film, full stop. Star Wars movies, anything. Unreal. Every single episode of Andor, I was on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait for Andor in January. But it was for adults. It was an adult show, ultimately. And here we arrive at Skeleton Crew. And I got to be honest. All I knew about Skeleton Crew is that it was supposed to be more kid-focused. And so I was excited, right? I told my daughters, I'm like, look, guys, they're releasing a new Star Wars show. It's specifically made for dads and their kids to watch together. I've never seen it, which is rare for us to be able to watch Star Wars that I haven't seen. And I was really excited. So admittedly, all this is probably tinged with the fact that it was super special to me to get to watch last Thursday night. Was the first time I watched it. Put on episode 1. I had made popcorn for the girls. We had made a little fort they wanted to hang out in and watch a show. But damn, boys, I fell head over heels with this show. And the reason being, I am a child of the Goonies. I'm a child of E.T. I'm a child. It's the reason why I love Stranger Things season 1 so much. That Steven Spielberg, John Williams, whimsical 1980s adventure where you have kids and they're put into these extreme situations, life-threatening situations, and yet they're kids, so they just kind of treat it like kids do. It's still an adventure. They're still worried about flirting. They're still worried about having fun. They're not like sitting there crying. They're not in shock. They're not losing themselves. No, it's an adventure, and they're just going to go and do it. Reminds me of the quote from They Should Not Grow Old, that excellent World War I Peter Jackson movie, where he talks about, it's in the trailer, but they read letters from these old soldiers, and here's this young Englishman saying, we had a job to do, so we just gone and done it. And that's how I feel about kids in Spielberg movies. They're in life-threatening, extreme, insane situations, but they're never overwhelmed. They're just kids. They're on an adventure. When I tell you this Skeleton Crew show is that Spielberg vibe set in the Star Wars universe, and they fucking nail it. Nail it through two episodes. Absolutely fucking nail it. And you see so much cool stuff that you've never seen before in the Star Wars universe. And pause now because I'm going to get into spoilers. If you do not want any Skeleton Crew spoilers, I'm going to give you about 10 seconds here. Brian Solar says, I watched the Goonies after I watched episodes. Yeah. All right, so here's some spoilers. First off, I love this suburban setting that we first see in Star Wars. We've seen mega cities, we've seen the slums, we've seen the rural desert areas, we've seen snow planets. We've never seen the fucking suburbs in Star Wars, and it's so beautiful from a set design, how it's executed, and I love the characters. I love Wim, the main kid, the actor. Does he have bad survival instincts? Is he a bit bumbling? Yes, but he's earnest, and he's adventurous, and he's brave, and he's got courage. And I love Neil. Fuck, how adorable is Neil? I should know what kind of alien that is, but I'm not always the best on like Star Wars kind of trivia knowledge like that. But Neil with his cute little trunk and ears and his hair. And speaking of production values, A+ production values, a very good mixture of practical and digital effects. The fact that if you are a character with a prosthetic head, thank God it's not digital. At times there may be interposing some digital effects, but those are animatronic heads that these actors are wearing, and the show is so much better for it. I love the whole crew. I love the girls. I love Neil and Wim. I love all the kids. And ultimately that's how the show has to work. I love the music. John Williams-esque, whimsy, fantasy, an adventure. Oh, and then, guys, fucking pirates. Because what goes better with Spielberg and kids' adventures than fucking pirates? I mean, are you kidding me? When they're on the ship and they're going, they don't know it's a ship yet, right? And they're going, or at this point they do, and they're going through everything. He's got the old pirate hat on. Like, I fucking love it. It's so good. And I can't wait to see what happens. Jude Law at the end. Did he use the Force? Is that a trick? What's going on? What is this planet they're on? How about SM-33? You see him right here. That's the new droid of the show, SM-33. What does SM-33, guys, spell, guys? Smee. The first mate. Smee. Only SM-33's got them hands. So, I'm fucking ecstatic. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. And if you want to prove that or at least I proved it to myself that I'm not just saying this because of how much my kids enjoyed it, I've gone back and watched each episode completely alone. And so once again, we arrive back at the original point. Star Wars, like anything else, is not inherently good or bad. The show is not good because it's got a child of color as the main character. It's not bad either because of that. It's good because it fucking rocks and it's executed well. Andor is good because it fucking rocks and is executed well. And the shows that aren't good because they're not. So miss me with all your political bullshit. Because while I have a lot of problems is where the Star Wars kind of universe sits as a whole right now, it's still not an awful time because here we have a kids show that you can watch with anybody, any age, and it's incredibly fun for all ages. And I feel like I'm on a theme park ride roller coaster. And then next month we're going to get Andor for the adults. That'll be fantastic as well. So all that to say that I fucking love Skeleton Crew. And it has made me so happy to see that you could make an earnest and sincere show work. Does Georgia have a QB? I don't know. Depends on Gunnar Stockton. Does Gunnar Stockton need a transfer, or do you need to bring in a portal QB if you're Georgia? I don't know. I think you got to see how. I think you got to see how this playoff run goes. Right? How does the Sugar Bowl go? If Carson Beck can't play, which we don't know for sure yet, we'll have to see. Joe McCutcheon, I'm excited that Bama will play Michigan in our bowl game. I hope the guys play well. RTR, hell yeah, Joe. See, that's the right fucking attitude, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. I agree. I hope LSU plays well in the Texas Bowl. Wait, where's this Spielberg take? And then we'll get out of here. CK Taverner, look at Spielberg's body of work. Almost everything goes better when there are not pirates. I mean, when was he bad with pirates? I'm sure I'm missing something, but Goonies was also like, when you're a little kid, you watch movies to a, when you're a little kid and you watch movies to a almost like autistic level. For me, that was Goonies, where we used to spend every summer about 2 months in North Louisiana. And me and my little brother would watch one of 2 VHSs every single night. And that was Sidekicks with Chuck Norris and Goonies. And so Goonies has a very close place in my heart. And that was Spielberg with pirates. And I think it's a masterpiece. You want me to do the Trouble Shovel? Nah, I'm just kidding, dude. Get out of here, dude. DJ Trauma, T-Bob, cancel the Clemson game. It's not being solved. It's called doing whatever it takes to win. The most alpha manly thing you do. Fuck that, dude. Miss me with that shit. Sorry, DJ. I know you get mad at me with saying this, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to cancel the Clemson game. I want to win the Clemson game. I want to schedule hard. I want to play hard. I want to win hard. Okay. Like all these other teams keep scheduling LSU. They keep winning. Why can't that be you? So fuck that. I don't want to cancel the Clemson game. I think when you cancel the Clemson game, you're starting the road. You're starting down a bad path an uncompetitive path, a cowardly path. What would the kids from television crew do? Would they cancel the Clemson game? No. They'd power right through it. Oh, it was a Hook joke. Not a favorite of his own, says CK. Oh. See, that's crazy because I loved Hook, right? I mean, who didn't love Hook? God, John Williams, guys. If you have not seen the John Williams documentary on Disney Plus, you have to. You have to watch, guys. You have to watch. All right. I apologize. I've gone very long. I did not mean for the Skeleton Crew review to turn into 30 minutes of a State of the Union on how I feel about Star Wars, but here we are. I thought that I could give you the context so I could explain that I'm not just like, I don't just love everything that Star Wars puts out. Nothing could be further from the truth. But I do love this shit, man. All right, guys. And by the way, speaking of Hook, who else likes to still imagine their food sometimes, you know, when you get hungry enough? Come on now. Don't lie. All right. Love you guys. And we'll see you tomorrow for a preview show where we will break down, wait. Wait. Before you go, I forgot. Today's show brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, guys. Link in the bio. Remember, we are very excited to have some sponsors here on Snaps now. Shout out Oxy Time. Shout out Underdog. They took their chances with us, and they didn't want anything in return. Okay. No, they wanted to, like, we had people reach out that wanted creative control. They wanted the episodes to be shorter. You can't curse. You can't do this or that. Underdog didn't say shit. They said, you know what? We like the show. We like your audience. We think we have a lot of fun for your audience to be offered, and we just want you to tell your audience about us. So I'm very thankful to Underdog. Guys, here's how you can help us out. You go to underdogfantasy.com. You sign up. Use the promo code SNAPS. You use that promo code, and with your first-time deposit, they will match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So use the code SNAPS and you sign up. And if you really want to help us, like base the number, sign up so they get from that code. We have bonuses, but whatever. I don't give a fuck about that. I just really want them to be happy, y'all to be happy. Use the code SNAPS. In however much money you put in, your first time deposit, they'll give you up to $1,000. So match it up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So let's go ahead and do a pick'em for tonight's Monday Night Football game, because here's one of my favorite parts. They have the daily fantasy, but they also do this pick'em, where this is a great way. Like, okay, you don't give a fuck about Cincinnati, Dallas tonight. Well, now you do. Okay. Very fun, very easy way. And it's all just higher or lower. For instance, Joe Burrow, 291.5 pass plus rush yards, higher or lower? Let me think. This year, Joe Burrow, we're always going higher. Okay. Let's see. Jamar Chase, 6.5 receptions, higher or lower? 15.75 fantasy points, higher or lower. Let's see. Okay, and this gives us our and a half-point PPR. 7 catches. First half receiving yards, first quarter receiving yards. Does he get? What do y'all like most here? I'm feeling 7 catches. We're gonna go higher. There. Okay, my picks are going to be on 2 different teams. Relax there. And now we got to pick something for the Cowboys. Cooper Rush. Pass yards, rush yards, higher or lower? I mean, Cincinnati's defense has been god-awful. Do we bet on Cooper Rush, guys? Does he throw a touchdown in the first half? I'm going to say this. I think Cooper Rush gets more than 15.5 fantasy points. Okay? And then let's do one more for the Cowboys here. Brandon Cooks. God, Brandon Cooks. That's crazy, man. I always forget that Brandon Cooks still in here. I think Brandon Cooks going to have higher than 28.5 pass yards. So there we go. Look at this. Let's say I put in $50. If I get all 4 correct, that's 360, guys. Just off 50 picks. If you can also choose the flex option, where if you get 4 correct, it's 219. If you get 3 correct, you're winning your money back and then some. So you have a little bit of wiggle room. there. What happens if we get rid of Chase and here and we just do look at this, guys, look at this. If you just get Joe Burrow and Cooper Rush correct, $50 bet, you triple if you just get 2 correct. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's fantasy. That's Underdog Fantasy. UnderdogFantasy.com. Go ahead and use the promo code SNAPS to sign up, and they'll match your first time deposit up to $1,000. I think I have to read this real quick. Must be 18 or older, 21 plus in Massachusetts, Arizona, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. Present in state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Conservative play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342-NY. Call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. 369? Damn girl, fine. I added that at the end. Relax, guys. Hey, thank you all for joining me, though. Please like, subscribe. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more snaps. Later, guys.